Yo, what's good, gang? How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well, keeping swell as always. Yeah, today's gonna be a little bit different in the sense that I've already got the cards out. And how this happened is I was actually trying to put the cards away, and then two cards popped out, and I just thought, okay, this looks interesting. What is it about? So Spirit just said, okay, cool, just share the reading, even after I'd already pulled out everything. So we're gonna dive into this together. It's definitely giving healing and overflow, because those are the two cards I started with. So I'll of course explain a bit more, then we can get into it together. Otherwise, yeah, of course, this is a collective reading, so please do take what resonates and leave the rest. And as always, we thank God, we thank our guardians, our angels, our ancestors for this sacred time, this divine place and space. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so two cards that fell out, right? It is the Three of Swords in reverse, as well as the Ace of Cups. So this is where I was getting the healing and the overflow. Just for these two cards to come out first, I was like, okay, something is definitely up here. Like, Spirit, this is a message. It definitely also feels like a message that's not just for me, but I think we all need to hear this. So ultimately, with the Three of Swords in reverse, someone could look at this as heartbreak, or being heartsore, disappointment, even a traumatic event of some sorts. But in reverse, it's speaking to healing, recovering from that. So I'm keen to see what this comes to. Also, we got the number 3 there, so that also does speak to, after the number 2, it could speak to company, a third-party situations involving more than one person ultimately. But of course, you will take what resonates there in your case as well. With the Ace of Cups, I mean, this is abundance, this is overflow, this is an outpouring of some kind. It could be very much linked to emotions, feelings, that's what the cups usually relate to. But yeah, it just speaks to so much blessing, so much abundance. It could also speak to Spirit intervening in some way, a new beginning of some kind. So yeah, let's get into it and let's see what else we got right here. Okay, so all these cards here to the right of the Three of Swords were to explain why we got the Three of Swords here, right? So what we had, what I had pulled out, is the Seven of Wands, the Tower in reverse, and the Three of Wands. Just looking at this, to me it comes across as like whatever was being blocked or held back or restricted in a sense is being unearthed. And this is like a big major change. It's like the foundation has been shaken in some shape or form, and anything that is even delayed the shaking of the foundation is actually what's happening right now. So it's coming across as like some blockage is being removed. I'm definitely also getting like something that has taken some time to reflect will now be reflected because of something that was stagnated. With the Three of Wands here, I'm just getting that this is actually leading to your higher self. So when I think of the Tower card, I always think of like major shifts to like your foundation or some structure, maybe even sometimes a routine, if you want to look at it like that. Could also be things to do with authority sometimes. But ultimately, if there was a blockage or a restriction, and now that is now ultimately in movement, I would say in flow in a sense, because I'm getting this feeling that even though things might be crumbling or falling apart, it's actually happening in the best way that it should, because here we are now at our highest self. This is not just somebody who has a plan, but somebody who has purpose, and you're waiting for the results to come in. You're looking for your ships there, as we can see there. There's something that's definitely coming in, and whatever is coming in, it's because you've protected yourself for so long, and this healing now is ultimately coming from you being able to put your guards down, and whatever structure, institution, constitution existed is now ultimately being shaken. So if there was even a resistance for this movement to take place, now it's happening regardless, you know. This could also be looked at as like resisting a tower moment, resisting like drastic change. So it feels like this change was also maybe delayed for a certain amount of time, but now is your time to heal and step into your higher self. So that's what is actually coming in. And I think this is with it being the wands. Oh, I'm just seeing that synchronicity now. We've got, you know, the 3 of wands as well as the 3 of swords on this side. So definitely something about the number 3 or 33. Again, we were speaking to maybe a third party situation. But with the wands, what I'm getting is, of course, your passions, what you're doing, your courage, you know, your faith sometimes, you know, the things that you believe are true to you. So now you're at a point where, you know, from 7 to 3, you know, someone might look at that as a reduction, but it's more about 7 minus 3 is 4, right? And that's stability, that's, you know, security, foundation number. And then we have the foundation in between. So, you know, it's, oh wow, it's so interesting how it's coming together. But yeah, anyway, I'm just getting that this now allows you to move ahead. It allows you to look ahead. And with this person looking towards, you know, the distance and, you know, the mountains, the expanse, it's like you're just leaving all of these things behind. If I'm looking at the colors as well, I mean, whatever you were protecting was protecting your heart, which is what you needed to heal from. And now these other people are falling out. If you're even thinking back again to the three-party or third-party situation, if this was you defending yourself, here are those other 2 people falling out of it. You know, it could be a masculine and a feminine, or it could actually be speaking to things that are falling out of place that were not necessarily in balance before. But now with your balance, 1, 2, boom, 3, now you're moving ahead, you know, you're going past that. So it definitely comes across like that. Oh yeah, like I was saying with the colors, green protecting your heart all the way to, you know, some communications, some shaking up with your root. But now you balance, you've got your green and your red there together. So it's like whatever occurred in these 2 cards culminated in you now having a better plan, a better outlook on what it is that you're gonna do next. So yeah, that's what came through for the healing, gang. Ooh, that gets me excited. I want us all to heal, man. Whatever it is, I know everybody's going through something different. So whatever it is that you need to heal from, in whichever state of your being, you know, physical, mental, emotional, you know what it is. Just heal, gang. Let's all heal together. So here for the overflow, yeah, so overflow, like I was saying, new opportunity to express for abundance in some shape or form. You know, how I interpreted this is this 7 of wands. How interesting. We went from the first card on both you know, expansions of the first 2 cards. Both started with the 7 and we already had the 3s. So definitely about another synchronicity there. 3, 3, 7, 7. Ooh, look at that. We've got a 3 again here with the Empress. So 3 3s and 2 77. So yeah, if that's resonating with anybody. Let's see, do we have any other 7s here on the table? Okay, I see we've got a 6, 8, another 8. Okay, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Yeah, so with this 7 of swords, you know, this speaks to kind of like trickery, illusion, deception. You know, oh, that phrase, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, kind of comes with this. You know, how this person is like moving away with all the swords and leaving 2 swords behind. So it's like, with the swords also being about, you know, things about the mind, thought, swift action, and so on. It's like, don't gaslight yourself or even play yourself by old ways of thinking, because, you know, sometimes poor thought and poor thinking are the things that are actually going to limit us. So it's like, for this abundance, this overflow to come in, it's about breaking out of the previous ways of thinking and thought, because poor thinking and poor thought are so limiting. If our mind is our creation tool, we ultimately need to make sure that we are doing the best that we can to break free of those things. So it's like, those previous ways of thinking or thought were actually weapons towards your abundance, and you are, you know, observing what needs to stay, those two swords there, and what also needs to go away. So this card coming out in reverse, for me, it's almost like a rewind, a renewal of what was once in your mind. Every time I see lines going across, I think about limits, boundaries, and it's like you need to go beyond the threshold of what you were once programmed to think or believe, because those things are now ultimately weapons or tools working against you. So now you need to kind of recognize what that is actually, that it is just a tool, and it is just a way of thinking that you can grow out of. I think of, let's say, like a plant in a vase. If the plant is like the content and the vase is the container, you can always change the plant that's in the vase, but at some point, if the plants aren't growing, then you need to change the container, so you change the vase. So think about that in the terms of your mind as well as the thoughts in your mind. So those two things are separate there. Wow, that one came through with the most. Next card here, Knight of Cups. It's like it's like this abundance, while it came from a spirit, God, angel, I like to think of that as coming straight out of the clouds. It's like a part of it is you giving to yourself. If this was a love reading, I would think this is like a love offer coming in, but it's like, now that I'm thinking about it from an individual point of view, it's like, can you give yourself a chance? Can you self-care? Can you continue to take care of yourself and know that you evolving your way of thought is actually the best act of love that you can give to yourself, because you are now becoming an energetic match or vibration, or matching vibration with what it is that you truly desire. And it all does start in the mind. So you now need to break free of those illusions or tricks or programs that you once had. Give yourself some love, and then also step into your creation. But with Empress in reverse, I think of like divine feminine, and if this is in reverse, from nurturing, it becomes like smothering or overwhelm. But it's like not having too much pressure on yourself and what you create. There's a nice phrase that I used to think about, that I used to recite quite a bit, and it's about your job as an artist, as a creator, is just to create and not curate. So don't be too hard on how your expression comes to be or how things start to shape up. It's just a matter of you recognizing that it is an act of self-love to give to yourself, to nurture yourself, to prioritize yourself ultimately. I mean, moving ahead with what fulfills you, what lights you up. And then again, this Empress card being here, it speaks to, of course, that creation energy, that birthing something into being, something beautiful, something new. And with it being like, the last card here, I'm just getting that sense of like not losing sight of your creation, not losing sight of the things that you need to bring into being, because what you're doing is not just for yourself. I think of how the 3 synchronicity came through again. It's like your higher self doesn't come from you playing yourself. Your higher self means that you need to create, you need to step out and be someone who manipulates energy in a sense, and then again, not forsaking your divine feminine energy, that self-care, that nurturing. So it looks like, for your abundance to come in, this outpouring, this overflow, it's about, changing the way you think about it, and then ultimately giving back to yourself, and you're remembering that it's a process in doing that. It's like you actually are going to mother yourself in a sense. So yeah, that's what was coming through. Again, as I was putting more cards away, the other deck, actually I'm getting like sidetracked now. So at the back of the traditional deck, we had the Hangman in reverse. This speaks to no longer like self-sacrificing, no longer self-sabotaging, you being illuminated in some shape or form about how a situation unfolded, maybe actions, behaviors. I mean, that's all in your mind. Again, the things that you think about reflect in your actions and your behaviors. So I think it's being made clear to you what needs to change, as well as how you view and see things, because things have taken some time. I'm also getting that kind of feeling. But with time came knowledge, came experience. So if there's ever even a thought about starting all over, know that you're starting with knowledge and you're not starting from zero. Interesting. Let's see what's behind this. Wow, victory, triumph. Gang, we winning out here in these streets. And this is public. Like, this is gonna be obvious. Everybody's gonna see what we're doing out here in these streets. Hey, what do you do, gang? Let's do it, bro. Let's do the most. Let's go one more. And look at that. And it's all because of the plans. I mean, just look at his hand. He's got the world in there, you know. It's about sticking to the plan. I'm even getting a sense of like, this is something you might have agreed to before, you know. Things are coming back into balance with the number 2. So if you do consider like multiple lifetimes or even like soul contracts and so on, it's like, yo, you're gonna be seen by the world, but it comes with you, like, you know, sticking to the plan and whatever you agreed to do. So just remember your dreams and your aspirations. Ooh, hey, this reading is buzzing. I'm so glad I got to unpack it with you guys. Like, I just pulled out the cards and I was like, nah, we're sitting on the camera for this one right here. And it's been sitting, man. Been sitting, just waiting for this moment. Okay, so from the other tarot deck, again, these are just more cards that like fell out as I was like putting it away. But we have the Moon and the Strength in reverse, you know, 2 more major arcana cards. I mean, following after, well, actually, yeah, 2 more, these 2, following after the Tower, the Empress, as well as the Hangman that we had there. So we on major arcana number 5 with these 2. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, with the Moon, this speaks to, you know, I always think like sleeping on it, you know. I always think there's also like a very much a water energy here. Piscean, you might be a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, you know, the water signs. But this speaks to the illumination, the clarity, and sometimes even taking a pause, you know. The Moon does appear at night. You know, you might be navigating still through this darkness, still through some unsettling feelings or emotions, but ultimately you will find your way through that. I do see a connection with nature and animals as well. I'm seeing, you know, the 2 pillars there. So it's like, as you navigate through this, can you remain balanced? Because it's like, I'm even getting like shadow work, you know, not being afraid of like being in the dark side, but knowing that there is like some illumination that's gonna come from that. So definitely some clarity is gonna come through by actually moving a bit slower and allowing the energy to like permeate or radiate, if you wanna look at it that way. And on this side here, it's like Strength in reverse. It's like, you know, maybe not having strength, not having courage, determination. It's like, even as things seem dark or unclear, move through the night. Know that there is a light that is still guiding you. You know, I'm even looking at the dog here, and the dog on this side, I mean, this is a wolf now. It's like your dogs become wolves at night, so you are protected. You are also, you know, guided by your spirit team or your spirit guides. They are there present with you. And I think they are only like, you know, a call away, a message away, a song away. So, you know, you got to listen to your music. I think there's some messages that come through music that are definitely there to comfort you. And it's a reminder that even though you're going through this dark period or this night time, it is going to become bright all over again. You know, at the back of that deck, I think now it explains why we even have the Moon and, you know, the what was it? The Strength in reverse. It's like whatever is from your past is being revealed, you know, maybe even like shadow aspects, dark aspects, parts of yourself that you needed to shed, release, or even acknowledge. Because before we move into this healing and abundance, there are some things that we need to release, you know. So again, you know, with the shadows there, I'm getting that shadow work again, or perhaps just facing this darkness, you know. It could even be like, you know, evil eye, witchcraft, you know. I'm just thinking of anything bad, like a projection, you know, something that was even a previous version of yourself, you know, letting an older version of you, your previous habits, ways of being, routine, lay behind so that you can move ahead. But ultimately, it's like you've got all these cups filled now, and you should ultimately give yourself your own flowers. I think as you recognize the version of yourself that you've evolved from in your past, this is a time to, like, you know, take stock or take heed of what has actually occurred in this time. Look at that, 10 of swords in reverse, man. Yo, this is the revival, you know. All the backstabbing is being revealed. This is you now ultimately deciding to live in your truth, realizing that you didn't come this far just to make it this far. You need to step up and step out. If you look at this as gravity, I always like to think about that with this card, is that now the cards are like not the cards, or maybe the cards are actually falling down, you know, cards falling into place. But anyway, the swords are falling out. So it's about time that you take your weapon and master your mind, yourself, your way of thinking, you know, applying some wisdom ultimately. 5 of Wands. You know, typically I see this and I think about like competition, arguments, fights. But with this person being by themselves and, you know, having all the wands in their own hands, it's like, you know, you've X'd people out, you've crossed things off. And it's like, you know, with the 3 over there, it's giving like Wolverine type vibes. It's like these previous setbacks or people who were creating conflict or competition with you, now you've got the power now. And, you know, like the ball is in your court. You have the upper hand. Yes, you have the upper hand. So interesting interpretation for this card. Of course, not usually the same like with others, but I'm just getting that, you know, you've X'd people out and now you're ready to come back hard, come back striking, cut through, tear through. Actually, maybe let's get one more here. What else we got? Explain some more. 6 of Wands again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Stepping into victory one more time. Hey, what do you do, gang gang? We winning out here in these streets. What's up? What's up? Oh my gosh, man, this is so beautiful, man. Like after all that competition, and look at that, it's like a progression from 5 to 6. Like, whoa, man, things are just progressing. It's like spirit is just guiding you. Just trust, fam. Trust. All is well, life is swell. You know how we doing? We're doing good. West side. Hey. Yeah, man, somebody might be from the west side, you know. I'm west side born and bred, you know, southern western townships, living in the West Rand as well. So yeah, if you know me, you know what's up. 1808 1709. Okay, yo, but let's get back to the reading. Sorry. Well, I mean, I don't have to be sorry, man. That's just me being me. You know what it is. Anyways, adding on more to the reading, different deck now. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. You know, yo, this for me was like coming to as like a little bit of like a warning in a sense, but then also a means of saying like, look, with everything we've just said about the healing and the abundance, you don't want to like now mess up this thing that's coming in, because it's huge. It's not just you. I think I was saying that earlier again, that it's not just about you. This is like some generational wealth. This is legacy. So it's like this had to happen because you are being protected to ensure this outcome. This is bigger than you, and it definitely feels like long lasting, you know. But again, this was just a matter of saying that if it did seem blocked, it's not necessarily blocked anymore. In fact, you know what, let me just split the deck to see why do we have the 10 of Pentacles here. Okay, so we've got the 9 of Swords in reverse. So it's like, yeah, oh, look, a message on my phone. I think confirmation there. It's like whatever was in the mind, whatever was plaguing, you know, overthinking, anxiety, worry, concerns, those are all leaving. So it's a matter of saying like, don't be worried about how your abundance comes in. I think this is speaking to like some kind of a surprise as well. That's how it's coming through now. So don't fret about how your abundance is coming in. This is like a lot of like money, time, energy, like it's all going to be returned to you. You know, you might be feeling tired, you might be feeling like, you know, you need to get a hold of your finances, your career, your home life, but whatever those thoughts are, they're leaving now. You know, whatever was plaguing your mind, it's going away. So it's definitely making more sense now with this card that I just split the deck on. But at the back of this deck, what we had was the 8 of Swords, you know, moving on and moving up, gang. Like, you know, sometimes, like I was saying earlier, or maybe just something that I say often, but some things have got to die so that others get to live. Woo, English. But yeah, for you to move into your higher purpose, into your higher path, it takes courage, it takes commitment, because I mean, it's not straight, it's at an incline. So you gotta, push yourself, expend some energy, but you know that you're going to a more enlightened place, a place where with greater thoughts, with greater illumination, with greater energy, with greater purpose, it does take some effort, but you're gonna get there. But you see that there's no more going back. I mean, even just looking at this image, how did this person get to this platform? You are clearly at a place where you've been elevated. You didn't just arrive here at this point, but it's a reminder to say that there's more to do, there's more to go, because once you're through that door, you don't know what's on the other side. There's just a leap of faith, it looks like, and it's like with that eye there, it's like you might have your third eye activated, you might be seeing visions, dreams, somebody might have even prophesied over you. I'm getting that feeling. Even you might be having deja vu, but definitely something in the mind is coming through here. But these things, I think, were revealing your actions, your behaviors, and your emotions, so that because you don't want to feel those things anymore, you realize that the cycle had to end. So that's why you're moving up and moving ahead. I did mention that there was another 8 earlier on. There were 2 8s, and I mean, we've got 8 in the strength, 8 in the 8 of cups, with the 8 as well, with the infinity, we put 8 on the side. But yeah, maybe that's why it needed to be on the side, like, the hangman, in reverse. You needed to see things from a different perspective over there. But 8-8, just coming out of August, I mean, it's September right now, we did have the 8-8 portal, 9-9 portals approaching. So maybe this is like that, taking stock with the current full moon that's coming up as well. Like, yo, dude, check yourself. What were you doing? What is it that you need to leave behind so you can take this higher purpose, follow this higher calling or higher path, 7 of Swords, gang. Look at this, another synchronicity. We had this card popping out earlier on. Yeah, the trickery, the illusions. You making your way past this. And again, it's like if this thing was trying to chase you. I mean, how interesting is this? Same card, of course, different images. The images, of course, are now giving us different ways to interpret the card. But it's like these things are no longer chasing you. Even as you step up into this higher path, it's again that way of being, that way of thinking. The verse that's coming through, I forgot the actual verse, but I think it's in Matthew, but it speaks about how new wine needs to be put into new wineskins so that both can be preserved. So new thoughts need a new way of thinking, because old thoughts with old thinking is going to keep perpetuating the cycle. So here you are, you've moved on, gang. And what we got behind that, Ace of Swords. Wow, there we go with the new thoughts, with the new thinking, and that's where the victory comes from, because now you've taken control, you've taken your power back, you're stepping into your strength. Hey, gang, this is beautiful. Look at that light illuminating, shining down, and there you go. You got your crown, you got your defense, you got your victory. Everything is just in alignment, and it looks like everything is coming in at the same time too. So that's so beautiful, man. You're a gem. It's like, you were put under pressure for so long, as we know with diamonds, but like, you were put under pressure for so long. Now everything just had to come in, and it came in strong. But again, just don't forget where you came from. I think it's also important to live by the same faith that you were saved by. So yeah, just think about that. One more at the back of this. Judgment. Oh my goodness, this is exactly what I was saying about following the calling, following a higher path, gang. And I was also speaking about a third eye, and here we've got an eye, 1, 2, 3. I love it when there's so much synchronicity and alignment with the messages. So yeah, here we are, man. This is beautiful. Anyways, there are some oracle cards that also came through, and yeah, let me just read them for you. I think they're just gonna stamp the message one time. But here we got, nothing yet is set in stone, and it's a mutable moon. So that means that there's a lot of energy for us to work with right now. If you thought that it was over, it's not over. You still have an opportunity to work with the energy, and it hasn't cemented itself yet. It hasn't taken shape and form. So again, I'm thinking of this like clay, something that's malleable. You can definitely change its shape and its form. And then, as we know, that follows function. So yeah, man, something's about to work in your favor if you allow it to do so. And how do we do that? Spirit's like, yo, confidence is your key to success. You gotta show up and show out, gang. The lion has gotta roar. Just step into your sacral energy, tap in, go into that womb, such a sacred space that often gets attacked, but we have to move on. And you might even be thinking about your diet and like how a lion eats like only once a day. But ultimately, it's like, can you once a day give yourself confidence? Once a day, meditate, visualize on the things that you're trying to actually succeed at. So, if you can just like once a day bring something into your practice that reminds you of, the greatness that you are the king or queen of the jungle, gender doesn't matter at this point in time, but it's your key. And keys open doors. And we were just speaking about that right now. Like, there's a door that's opening up, and you just have to be confident enough to take those steps to get into that door. And again, new moon in Leo. So if one of you is a Leo, well, this might just be a confirmation for you. But again, lions, strength as well. I'm thinking about how the strength card in the traditional tarot deck, has a lion there. So maybe you were tamed for some time, but now it's time to, just show out, man. Show out. Let your voice be heard. And yeah, also stepping into your leadership, because I mean that's what confidence is about, right? Like knowing that you got to do what you got to do, and you got to do it well, because you're clearly gonna open the door to success by just taking that action or taking that step. And sometimes we know we don't always see or have the answers, but you know what? We have to believe in the impossible. I mean, how often do we see a blue moon? I think the moon that's coming up is like red or like vermilion, kind of, orange type of hue. But as I see this, I'm thinking like, once in a blue moon, like something that doesn't happen so often, which is the impossible. But can you believe in that something might just, or will, not might, claim that thing right here, something will just like pop in and reveal itself as miraculous, as spectacular. So I think that's going to be super insane. But yes, your belief, your faith is ultimately what's going to bring this in. I think that's why I was even getting something about like reminding yourself of what makes you confident, so reinforcing your beliefs. You might even be into subliminals, or just explore subliminals. Just help with the reprogramming so you can believe that your abundance is here. It's not just coming in, it's already here. You've already manifested this thing. Okay, then these three cards came out together, but I think they kind of speaking to what to look forward to. So we have a new romantic cycle begins, emotions are running high, and the energy is gaining momentum. This could be one of two things. If you are single, maybe a new person is coming in, or perhaps even an offer. Maybe this is where this is coming in, is that once you've loved yourself, now you can receive the same love that you've given to yourself. It's like you can only attract what you have embodied in terms of your vibration and your frequency. So yeah, you might just be attracting a new person, and again, it's like you emotions are all up in the air. You doing what you're doing, you've healed, now there's this outpouring of emotion and all of that over here. But and the energy is getting momentum, so there's movement, like the wheel is turning. I mean, just look how huge this moon is. I think it's really something might just blow up in your face or be unexpected. Ooh, I'm getting that surprise thing coming through again. But yeah, something's coming your way that you don't even see coming, and it's a new cycle. And if this cycle is perhaps with yourself, it's about loving yourself in a different way. If you are perhaps a person who's not even thinking about relationships, again, we were saying that this could also be the love that you give to yourself. So because of this love that you've given to yourself, now your emotions are on high. You're feeling good, you're feeling great. And then now, because of that feeling, now you've understood which energy to align with. And that's why it starts to gain momentum. So I think an interesting way to look at this, I think for this collective, it's either you're on the single side, or you're on the side of the relationship coming in. In fact, it even might be both. I'm also getting that as well. So there's definitely different groups that this might apply to, but again, take what resonates. Yeah, you know what it do, gang. And yeah, we're almost done. So 3 more oracles. Revive the dormant. I think this is definitely speaking to growth, the expansion. If you had something that was chilling and then, dormant, and now you're going to revive it, you're going to pour water into it, you're going to nurture it. I'm looking at this tree, it just needs new soil, water, sunlight, maybe even some fertilizer. You got to look at the root or the foundation of something so it can rise up and expand into more. So I think maybe that's why even this foundation needed to be shaken up. There might have been resistance to revive the dormant, but here we are now, moving ahead. And, things do take time, as we can see, that the fruits of the labor or the harvest happens in the right season. Definitely a lot about seasons and cycles coming through here. And, seasons come and go, but cycles can continue until we break them. So yeah, just think about that for sure. Second last one is be patient. Ooh, on a mission. My worst enemy is idle time. One of my favorite quotes, that's from Nipsey Hussle. But, even in that idle time, I've even got a project myself called Idle Time where, it's like an oxymoron. Idle, things are sitting still, but time, things are in motion and movement. But it's crazy how, like, in both times, big times, small times, with the big numbers, the small numbers, you still have to come back to yourself, get rooted, get grounded, and, take a seat, like take it all in as well. I think it's also about not rushing anything, speaking to how things happen in divine timing. So there's no need to rush this abundance coming in. I'm thinking about the circle and how this could be representative of a pentacle, and look at all of those coming through there. So it's like, if there was concern about how much of it is there's clearly more than enough for all time, which is time, generations again. So I'm definitely seeing a connection between these two over here. But yeah, just be patient, gang. I think with patience, this is how you fine tune your craft, your energy, further zone in and lock in on the energy that you're trying to hold and maintain, and then build upon that. So I think that's why we got to be patient over here. And then for our last card of the day, Spirit and Soul Message, Warrior Goddess Archetype or Archetype Affirmation. I am able to hold strong to my own intuition in the face of many confusing and varied choices around me. I know who I am, what I believe in, and what I stand for. Yo, man, this is about holding the fort, right? During these confusing times. And that's why we have the moon card here, for that clarity. And I think, the voice that's going to reign true is truth. The one that speaks life into you, into what you want to do. Because if it feels good, then we know that it's God. And we are, again, spirits and souls having a human experience. So perhaps it's also about that recognition and that separation of, like, this is just happening for my growth, for my expansion. So remaining studious and knowing that, if you know who you are, knowledge of self, so important, so key. Many walks of life speak to how much we need to know ourselves. So if you can be true and honest with where you are, and perhaps, introspect on why you're going through what it is that you're going through, you'll realize that you are strong and your intuition is guiding you. So that taking time to yourself, to chill, to meditate, is, I think, what's actually going to clarify the voices, so you can distinguish what is your voice and what is the voice of God, or, a projection, or whatever the case may be. But anyways, that's the message for today. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing swell. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Spread some love so that more people can find us. Thank you so much. I spread love, I spread light. I hope you're doing well and have a beautiful day. Yay, yay! What's up, gang? Peace.